5 months ago, contaminated cough syrups came under scrutiny in India. At least 20 children died in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Most were under 5. The highest number of deaths was reported in Madhya Pradesh. They were linked to Cold-Riff syrup. Investigations found 3 syrups contaminated: Cold-Riff, Recipe Fresh, and Relife. All contain diethylene glycol, a cheap toxic industrial solvent used in industrial products. Cold-Riff was manufactured by Sreelakshmi Pharmaceuticals. Authorities stopped the production, the company's owner was arrested, and a formal investigation was launched. Inspections later revealed serious violations: poor hygiene conditions, lack of proper quality control systems, substandard equipment, and manufacturing practices. The World Health Organization raised concerns. It pointed to gaps in India's drug safety regulations. It also warned that these medicines could spread through global supply chains. In 2023, Indian-made cough syrups were linked to 70 child deaths in the Gambia. Despite these deaths and international alerts, there was no immediate nationwide regulatory crackdown in India. This investigation is not just about one syrup or one company. It is about a system where rules exist but are rarely followed, where prescription drugs are treated like over-the-counter products, and where excess comes easy but accountability does not. Because when medicines are sold without checks, the risk is no longer controlled. It shifts to the consumer and, in many cases, to children.
We all remember the devastating Cold-Riff cough syrup cases, but right now here in Chennai, the improper dispensing of strong cough syrups meant for adults and not suitable for children is happening without any prescription. And it is not just about cough syrups. Antibiotics and other prescription drugs are being handed over without any oversight. This situation puts the public health at risk.
Even after the Cold-Riff cough syrup cases, questions around drug safety in India remain same. So we decided to investigate something else: the everyday reality. We are testing how prescription drugs like the cough syrups containing codeine are still being sold openly without a prescription. For this, we chose Grilinctus CD because it contains codeine, a regulated substance, and yet access to it doesn't seem restricted. No checks, no prescription, no questions asked. But before we go further, you might be wondering, what exactly is codeine and why is it regulated in the first place?
Basically, codeine is a prodrug. Codeine, when taken inside the body, gets metabolized, that is, gets converted into, processed by the body, and gets converted into morphine. We all know morphine as a very strong opioid. Codeine basically is a prodrug. Prodrugs are drugs that are, when taken inside the body, they are not in the active form, and it gets converted into the active form. So it gets converted into morphine. Codeine typically is useful in pain relief. It is also useful in chronic specific coughs which are not responding to other methods of management. All over the world, codeine less than 12 years is a big no-no. Very rarely do we use if there is any specific indications, and in that case, it has to be strictly under medical supervision, not without that.
Now you know why codeine can be harmful, and that's exactly why Grilinctus CD comes under Schedule H drugs. And now you might be wondering, what exactly is Schedule H?
Basically, Schedule H drugs are not drugs that are not poisons which should not be given. They are pharmaceutical medications, which is why they are there in the pharmacy in the first place. The government has approved to them, has given an approval so that you get there is a control over the dispensation of the medications. So one, it has to be given under medical supervision. So that is the main thing that the authorities are trying to relate to, trying to tell you, okay, you can't just like that take it over the counter. You are supposed to, it will be under medical supervision. Identify the right kind of patient for it, and if that patient deserves it, under medical supervision, that drug can still be used. For example, some of the antibiotics that we are using also come under Schedule H. So it's not that Schedule H drugs are not to be used at all. It's just that it has to be done under medical supervision, and the medical practitioner will know what are the indications, what are the contraindications, what are the side effects, and what are the possible patient population under which it should and should not be used.
Under India's drug laws, Schedule H medicines are strictly prescription drugs. They cannot be sold over the counter and must only be dispensed on the prescription of a registered medical practitioner. Every Schedule H drug must carry a clear RX label along with a warning stating it should not be taken without medical advice and cannot be sold without a valid prescription. Pharmacists are also required to maintain records of these sales for accountability purpose. These rules exist because such drugs, including antibiotics and habit-forming medicines, can be dangerous if misused. Yet, in reality, these safeguards are often ignored, and when prescription drugs are sold like regular medicines, control is lost, and the risk shifts directly to the public.
As mentioned in the government guidelines, it is not advised to sell any of these Schedule H medicines in India. Today, we are going beyond Schedule H. It is Grillinta CD, a codeine-based cough syrup that is being investigated. I am Sreelakshmi.
And I'm Vaibhav.
We'll be acting as parents and going to pharmacies across Chennai to see if we will get the medicine for our child without prescription or not. Let's see what happens.
CD.
During our investigation, we also found out that a codeine-free alternative, Grillintis LS, is available in the market.
நாளைக்கு வருமா
சின்ன பசங்களுக்கு சார் இந்த 6 இயர்ஸ்
புரியாது நான் நாளைக்கு வாங்க
ப்ரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் இல்லை ஆனால்
சிடி தானே
சிடி
ஓகே
ப்ரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் இல்லை
அது தேவையில்ல What?
இந்த குழந்தைக்கு உடம்பு சரியில்லை இதுக்காக அதான் குழந்தைக்கு தான் Then here, Sreelakshmi. Sreelakshmi. இந்த பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிற டாக்டர் கால் பண்ணிட்டு கால் பண்ணிட்டு
என்ன ஏஜ் பார்த்து 6 இயர்ஸ் 3.5
அந்த அங்கிள் அங்கே வாங்குவார்ல பண்ணி வாங்கிக்குவாங்க.
One of the pharmacists admitted that this drug is misused due to its opioid content. But what he did next raises serious questions.
இப்போ டாக்டருக்கு ப்ரிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன் இல்லைன்னா ஆன்லைனில் கால் பண்ணிட்டேன். அது ஓகே தான். ஆனால் இப்போ சொல்லும்போது கொஞ்சம் டென்ஷன் இருக்கு.
அதான் சில பேர் மிஸ்யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. அதனால தான் நான் சொல்றேன். எதுவுமே இல்லை. எம்எல்ஏ கேட்டு நீங்கள் ப்ரோசஸ்
To understand how such medicines are being sold so easily without prescriptions, we approached the Drugs Control Department. We wanted to know if the rules are clear, why are they not being followed, and more importantly, what action is being taken against pharmacies violating these regulations.
We reached out to Drugs Control Department seeking answers on how codeine-based syrup are still being sold in medical shops despite strict regulation. But none of the officials gave us any statement on camera. They also refused Reuters to give any statement. What followed was transfer from one door to another, one office to another. None of them gave any answers to us, which raised a serious question of accountability and transparency in a system.
ஆனால் வேறு ஏதாவது கப் சிறப்பாக இருக்குமா? அந்த குழந்தைக்கு தான் குழந்தைக்கு எத்தனை வருஷம்? 6. ஆனால் வேறு ஏதாவது இந்த கப் சிறப்பு மாதிரி
tendency to self-medicate is very high in our community. So that is something that we need. It's not just about asking the pharmacist for a drug. Often when we have given a medicine for a given indication, under our supervision, and we send the child home, and we find the child is better. 2 months later, the child gets into the same problem. The tendency is to buy the same prescription, and they go with the same prescription, get it from the pharmacy, and start using it. But this is a very common problem that we face. That is one big issue that we are facing. This I have come across very much. May not be specific to Codeine, but in general, ideally the pharmacy should not have issued the prescription because the date of the prescription is already over. They are repeating the prescription without the technical consent of the doc, because there has to be a signature. There has to be a. That is one big issue that we face, because OTC medicine, for example, a paracetamol, they can definitely give. That is not an issue. But what about an antibiotic? What about a steroid? The child comes with severe wheeze and then it's not responding to the usual medications. We start the child on a steroid. Tell the parent it is not an ordinary cough syrup. And then after 2 months, 3 months, they come back and then you see that they have just repeated it like a cough syrup. And the pharmacy continues to supply. These are common things that we find.
The question is,
If the rules exist,
Why are they not being followed?
because when access is easy,
but accountability is missing.
Public health is at risk.
access is easy, but safety is not.